Society. So let's take a look at the German Workers' Party, which, as we've already seen, came out of the Tool Society. In 1918, Rudolf von Sabbatendorf wished to extend the influence of the Tool Society to the working classes of Germany. He asked journalist Karl Harrer to form a workers' ring, as they called it. Harrer and fellow Tool Society member Anton Drexler formed the Political Workers' Circle. The group met every week throughout the winter of 1918 for discussions about nationalism and anti-Semitism. At the instigation of Anton Drexler, this workers' ring became the Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, the German Workers' Party, or DAP, on January 5th, 1919. There's Anton Drexler, one of the founding members of the Deutsche Arbeiterpartei. These were the four most influential founders of what eventually became the Nazi Party. And it looked innocuous at the time. This was its logo. The Deutsche Arbeiterpartei simply means German Workers' Party. Okay, and Drexler, Harrer, Dietrich Eckart, and Gottfried Feder were the founders of it. Let's talk about now Dietrich Eckart. Dietrich Eckart was a German Volkisch journalist and political activist who was one of the founding members of the German Workers' Party. Eckart was a key influence on Adolf Hitler in the early years of the Nazi Party. He was a participant in the failed beer hall putsch in 1923, the first time Hitler tried to take over Germany, and died on December 26th of that year, shortly after his release from Landsberg prison, which Hitler also went to after the failed coup d'etat. Eckart was elevated to the status of a major thinker in the Nazi Third Reich upon the establishment of Nazi Germany in 1933, and was acknowledged by Hitler to be, quote, the spiritual co-founder of Nazism, or again, he would have said National Socialism, and a guiding light of the early National Socialist movement. So again, these are the ideologues, these are the occultists, these are the thinkers that actually paved the way for what the Nazis did. They're the ones who formulated the ideology. In July of, now we're going to see Hitler come onto the scene and make his rise to power and how that was done. In July of 1919, Adolf Hitler was sent as an intelligence agent of the German army to infiltrate the newly formed Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, DAP, German Workers' Party, and monitor its activities. So Hitler was originally a spy that was spying on for the German military what became the Nazi Party, and then he eventually joined it. He eventually realized, hey, I could take this over with the help of some of the occultists, and I could run this whole thing. I could run the whole country. You know, forget being a spy for the military, I'll eventually seize military power. Hitler quickly made an impression on the other DAP members, and again, definitely its leadership, who were the occultists, with his oratory abilities. And if you really study that dynamic, Hitler didn't have very formulated oratory abilities. He was known as a flat speaker when he first began public speaking. He was trained by occultists in neuro-linguistic programming techniques, more on that later, to become an effective public speaker. The DAP's chairman, Anton Drexler, was impressed with Hitler and encouraged him to join the DAP. On the orders of his army superiors, Hitler applied to join the party because they wanted him to further infiltrate it. He was accepted into the DAP in September of 1919. Hitler initially wanted to form his own political party, but was convinced to join the DAP because it was small and he thought he could eventually become its leader. He consequently encouraged the DAP to become less of a debating society, which it had been previously, and more of an active political party. The small number of party members were quickly won over to Hitler's political beliefs. With the support of Anton Drexler, Hitler became the chief of propaganda for the German Workers' Party in in early 1920. In February of 1920, Hitler, along with Anton Drexler and Gottfried Feder, drafted a 25-point manifesto which summed up the German Workers' Party's political views, including an expansionist foreign policy, again, Lebensraum, the nullification of the Treaty of Versailles, which they saw as keeping Germany in an inferior position, politically and militarily in Europe, the creation of a greater Germany, again, that's pan-Germanism, and exclusion of Jews from German citizenship. Okay, so more of the racial ideology of the Völkisch movement taken into the political realm. On February 24th, 1920, Hitler revealed the DAP's new manifesto in a speech at a DAP rally in Munich to over 2,000 people. On the same day, the DAP was officially renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party. I'll do my best to pronounce it. National Sozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, or NSDAP. I think I did that pretty well, in an attempt to make the party more broadly appealing to larger segments of the population. The name was intended to draw upon both left-wing and right-wing ideals, with socialist and workers appealing to the left and national and German appealing to the right. See, playing the polarization dialectics, incorporating them both, taking both so-called wings of politics to the same place. It's an ancient strategy and people still haven't figured it out. This brings us to the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or NSDAP. Shortly after its official formation on February 24th, 1920, the National Socialist German Workers' Party announced that only persons of pure Aryan descent could become party members. Members of the NSDAP could not be related either directly or indirectly to a so-called non-Aryan. So now they're really strong-arming the whole racial aspect of this. Party members found guilty of racial defilement were persecuted heavily, and some even sentenced to death when the party eventually took over Germany. That was just for race mixing, okay? Adolf Hitler quickly became the NSDAP's most active orator, with huge crowds flocking to hear him speak. Again, the occultists had already whipped them up into a fury with their former ideologies and organizations. And now the whole Völkisch movement was dominant in Germany. And they were praying for a, quote, Germanic savior like Hitler to come along. Hitler soon became the party's most dominant political figure. The NSDAP continued to attract new members, gathering over 2,000 members in its first year. On May 20th, 1920, the symbol of the swastika, which was originally a symbol used by various ancient cultures throughout the world to represent good fortune and spirituality, again, distorted. That's all the occultists know how to do. They never really create anything new. They just twist and distort what already exists to their own ends. So the swastika was formally adopted as the party emblem. In Völkisch circles, the swastika was considered the symbol of the Aryan race. It's two Sigruns together. It represented the replacement of the symbol of the Christian cross with allegiance to the National Socialist state. In December 1920, the Nazi Party had acquired a newspaper, the Völkisch